Welcome to the show, guys. Today in this episode, we're talking about 5 fantasy football breakouts for 2022. Now, I want to do a disclaimer here. There's a ton of breakouts, a ton of rookie breakouts. I'll give you a quick example. Kenneth Walker, primed for a major breakout season. Now, there's a ton of breakouts, but I wanted to just focus in on 5 today that are returning players. So they've got, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years under their belt. These are not rookie players I'm focusing on. But 5 players, I've got 2 running backs here and 3 wide receivers that are in a prime position to succeed and break out. And again, it's only 5. There's tons more. Keeping the videos short, keeping you guys enticed and excited. And make sure you guys do subscribe because I'm going to have more coming your way. Now, if you are new to the channel, I know a lot of people watch the channel, click on the thumbnail, they think it's fancy, they think I'm good looking, whatever it is, I don't care, you're here. Make sure you click that subscribe button because this is outside of the box, non-consensus advice, right? I'm not going to tell you these guys finished on top last year, draft them again in that order. That's not how we roll here, right, guys? This is outside the box thinking, helping you guys crush your leagues, guys, to have that major competitive advantage. So I want to focus on these 5 players. I'm going to break down each one for you guys, why I think they're a prime position to break out, whether I'm going to draft them or not, whether you should draft them or not, all the information right here for you guys. Now, before I get into this show, guys, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know. Who do you think is going to break out? I want to make this super interactive. Now, if you're in the car, check out the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, check out the latest video, and go comment. I like to get this interactive. So I want everybody diving into the comments and letting me know who they really, really like to break out this year. And of course, guys, I just created the Impact Series. So what the Impact Series, guys, is I'm bringing all the top beat writers, the influencers that, focus on a particular team, and I'm bringing them in. And what we're doing is breaking down each team. So if you're curious on Christian McCaffrey's output, I just had the Panthers guy on, right? John Alexander, right? So he is the analyst. He's the reporter on that team, right? Every single beat writer, reporter on that team is brought in for you guys so you have that inside information. Check out the Impact Series. I've linked it below. And finally, guys, get that 16-round draft solution to help you guys crush your leagues, guys. You'll be absolutely blown away how good this is. Video training, optimal place to draft in each round. Use code TUBE20, save yourself 20%. All right, guys? I'm going to fast forward the story time today. I want to get right to these breakouts. It's Father's Day at the time of this recording. I said I'd take the day off. Okay, we're getting into story time now. I said I'd take the day off, and here I am again putting out content for you. I don't have a problem doing it, but I want to keep that content rolling. I want to keep you guys informed, right? So that's, I guess, avoiding story time today, and I'm telling you a story on how I'm continuing to do content on Father's Day. But hope you guys have a good Father's Day, and if it's past, if you're listening to this day after, maybe if you're listening to this video in August, have a good day. All right, guys? All right, let's dive into this. So first guy here I want to talk about in regards to a potential breakout is Jeudy. Now, some of the guys here I'm mentioning here, there is some concern with them, okay? And the concern is, I've got this saying called years to wow me, I'm not wowed. So let's talk about Jeudy here real quickly. There's some concerns. I'll tell you the concerns. I'll tell you why he could break out. Looking at him the past couple years, he hasn't played much, right? He's played, like, if you look at his game started, what do you have? Like, what did he play last year? 5 games started. He played in 10 games of 5 started. He looked terrible. He had 0 touchdowns, 467 yards receiving, 56 targets on 38 receptions. Not good. The year before that, only 3 touchdowns, right? 14 games started. That doesn't really get me excited, right? So I'm looking at it. I don't see two full complete seasons. That's kind of a concern, right? You got those injuries here and there. This guy was a first-round pick, 15th overall in 2020. Top wide receiver prospect is Jeudy. Great polished route runner, good hands, amazing receiver from what we saw in college and on paper. It has not been able to translate just, right off the bat. And when I like to get a wide receiver, I want a guy that's elite talent. When I saw Jamar Chase, I'm like, I really like this guy. He came out, break up, bam, love him, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown, I wasn't crazy about him, but he was in a good position last year to succeed. He did okay in fantasy, not like amazing, but he did good. Point I'm trying to make, guys, is that I like to spot receivers that have a huge ceiling, huge talent, huge upside, and a huge opportunity to get volume. So I look at Jeudy, and initial glance and look, you're not that excited. But what excites me is this. Russell Wilson's coming to town. And again, I just had the beat writer from the Denver Broncos on, Troy Rink on. Go back and check that. That's what I'm telling you guys. Go check out the video there. And the biggest question going on right now is like, who's going to be better? Is it going to be Jeudy or Cortland Sutton? Who's going to get more volume? Because who's the wide receiver 1? After talking to Troy, he feels it is Jeudy. Now, my initial feeling was Jeudy. Then he had a bit of the off-field issues. And I'm just like, I'm not a little turned off of that. And yeah, again, years to wow us, we're not wowed. I think Sutton's the guy. Now, I think at the end of the year, maybe Sutton ends up with more points if you factor in, obviously, touchdowns, overall points. But in regards to PPR, maybe Jeudy, in fact, is the wide receiver one. Again, huge upgrade at quarterback. Russell Wilson going to, be super focused. He's got, apparently, from what I hear, the guy's got an office, in Mile High Stadium, Denver Broncos Stadium, whatever it's called. He's got his own office in there. Like, he's set. He's out here practicing. He's out there putting in the time. He's a big mentor to a lot of the players on the team. He's here to revive his career. And not that his career was really down. He had an okay year last year. It's just that I just think he wants more. He really wants to win a Super Bowl ring with the Denver Broncos and be part of the elite class for winning. There's only like a handful. I think there's one or two quarterbacks that have, I can't remember who. I think Troy mentioned, go watch the show. I think it's like Brady and who's the other guy? Help me out in the comments. One or two quarterbacks. I think Peyton Manning was the other one. One of very few quarterbacks that have gotten two Super Bowls from two different teams. So he really wants to win a Super Bowl. He's really driven. Point I'm trying to make is Jeudy's in a great opportunity with Russell Wilson as an opportunity for a major overdue breakout. Again, going into his third year, we want to see that. So it's up to you whether you want to risk a pick on him. He's sitting 24th on the consensus rankings, which isn't bad. So it's pretty decent value. So I'm like all over that, right? But again, you've got the Sutton factor. That's something to think about. So, but again, talking to Troy, the beat writer, he thinks Jeudy's the one. And he's primed for a breakout season. A big part of that is Russell Wilson finally getting a good receiver or a good quarterback throwing to him is going to be great. Okay. So that's the first breakout. Now let's talk about the second one here. Again, guys, comment below. Let me know. Do you think Jeudy's going to break out? I'd love to get your feedback. All right. Second guy here. And again, comment below. Love to get your feedback. Michael Pittman is the other breakout here. Now he's sitting 14th on the consensus on the Consensus rankings here. Listen, I like Pittman. Okay, I really, really like Pittman. In fact, I liked him a little bit more last year. Now he's got to upgrade at quarterback. The opportunity is there. It's prime. He's going to get a ton of volume. Matt Ryan throws a lot. Obviously, the defenses are going to be keying in on the run game with Jonathan Taylor. I think things are going to be open for Michael Pittman, who I've seen quoted stating that he wants to be that wide receiver one. My issue with Michael Pittman is, here's like, again, last year had a good year, 6 touchdowns, just over 1,000 yards. My issue is that is he going to be able to handle that wide receiver one role? Is he going to be able to handle top corners, right? Another issue I have is his ADP is really high, sitting 14th amongst wide receivers. He's coming off third round. And again, I'm trying to go robust RB, so I may be looking at a running back round 3 at this point as well. And there's so much value at running back round 3. You can get a Breece Hall, a Zeke Elliott, a David Montgomery. They're sometimes falling to the third round. So I'm looking at the value and securing my third running back with minimal committee if I can get one. And then I'm kind of missing out on the Pittman train. That's why I'm looking at a fantasy football wide receiver sleeper and Alec Pierce, right? Alec Pierce is kind of that breakout guy. So I want to do a 1-2 punch here. So I said 5 breakouts, but this is a 1-2 punch because I think Alec Pierce, I said I wouldn't really talk about rookies, but since we're talking Pittman, because he is due for a breakout, so I'm not straying away. I'm not trying to steer you wrong here. I think Alec Pierce is more of a breakout. Again, we got Matt Ryan throwing the ball. This was one of the top receivers the Colts drafted this year. Campbell hasn't been able to get it done. Go listen to the Colts video. I just had the Colts ambassador as well on, the beat writer. So if you ask me for a breakout, both these guys, both Pittman and Alec Pierce can break out. My thing is, I think Pittman is going to be great. I like him. He's going to be safe. I just don't want to pay that high of a price, and then you could say, well, Pittman could be superior or far superior to Pierce, who's the rookie, and that's very possible. But Pittman could also be seeing double coverage or seeing a top receiver that he may or may not be able to handle. And if that's the case, things are going to open up for Alec Pierce a lot. And he could really have a mini breakout, a rookie breakout season, especially with Matt Ryan throwing the ball. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Matt Ryan this year. I think he's a good talent. I just had the Falcons beat writer on. She was saying, Matt Ryan is, as advertised, he's good. And again, just had a couple bad years at Atlanta. Obviously, coaching, O-line under a lot of pressure here when you're throwing the ball, receiver issues, stuff like that. So again, I really like Pittman. Breakout. I'm throwing in a bonus there as Alec Pierce as a breakout here as well here for you guys. All right. So let's keep going on. Let's throw in a running back here coming in number 3. No particular order, but another guy that's going to break out. And you might say, well, Joe, he kind of broke out last year. And I'm going to say, yeah, kind of, but I still think there's more of a ceiling. The guy I'm talking about is A.J. Dillon. Now, Listen, I like Dylan, and the thing about Dylan the most is that he is the RB1 on the team, and I can get him for value. Now you're saying, well, Joe, that's not true. Aaron Jones is the RB1. Is he, though? I got to ask you, is Aaron Jones the RB1? I'm taking a look at the attempts last year. Now, Dylan played 17 games. Aaron Jones played 15. 187 attempts for A.J. Dillon, the younger, stronger back. 171 attempts for Aaron Jones. So A.J. Dillon had more rushing attempts. So how are you spending? This is what I don't get. Listen, I love Aaron Jones. I think he's a great player, good guy. Met him. Nice guy. And I think he's going to see an uptick in receptions with Adams gone. So that's the plus for him. But what I'm seeing here is that Dillon actually had more rushing attempts. You're like, well, Joe, that's not a big deal. Aaron Jones is number one. It is a big deal if I'm spending a second-round pick on Aaron Jones. That's a huge deal. Why would I invest a second-round pick, let's say even third, let's say he falls to second or third. I see him coming off in the second, but either way. Now in PPR, let's see where he's ranked in PPR on the consensus, on the Consheepsis rankings. He's pretty high. Stupid site here doesn't even want to load. Shows you the Consheepsis site doesn't even want to load. You're like, what site is he on? I want to know. Just look it up, man. You know what site I'm on. Anyway, the site doesn't want to load, but either way, oh, there it is. Aaron Jones, actually, has he gone down? Is there where? Oh, he's sitting 11th on the consensus in PPR. Okay, still. Why would I'd rather have Saquon. I'd rather have a guy, David Montgomery. I'd rather have Zeke even. Zeke's got Pollard and stuff like that. But why would I go Aaron Jones when I know Dillon last year, who I'm talking about could really break out and really take over, had more rushing attempts? 803 rushing yards compared to 799. 4 more rushing yards for A.J. Dillon. And he hasn't broken up because Jones has hindered him. 5 touchdowns for Dillon, 4 touchdowns on the ground for Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones had 6 receiving touchdowns. Dillon had 2 receiving touchdowns. But they weren't too far off in regards to receiving yards. 391 for Aaron Jones, 313 for Dillon. Dillon's getting it done receiving game. Receiving receptions, 52 receptions for Aaron Jones, 34 for A.J. Dillon. I mean, there you have it. I mean, he had a mini breakout last year, but he's completely under the radar. Dillon is the one here. You know what I'm saying? And even if he's not, I'm getting him for value. He's sitting 25th on the consensus amongst running backs compared to the 11th of Aaron Jones. So I'm saying here that, like, I'm not personally drafting Dillon. There's other running backs I like, rookie ones, that I'm not going to mention here on this particular video. Subscribe to get more content and get 16-round drafts, and all that's there. But what I want to talk about with Dillon is that he could have a breakout. If Aaron Jones gets hurt, or even if they decide to run Dillon more, which they should be anyway, I think he's the better back. He just hasn't had that opportunity. Like, if you look at a guy like, I'm not saying A.J. Dillon's Dillon. A.J. Dillon, I can't even talk right now. A.J. Dillon, I'm not saying he's Jonathan Taylor, but what I'm saying is Taylor was hindered because of Marlon Mack. And at the end of the day, I think Dillon's hindered because of Aaron Jones. Now, mind you, Aaron Jones is better than Marlon Mack, and Dillon's not as good as Jonathan Taylor. And, you know, the point I'm trying to make is, if Dillon ran wild, if Dillon had the opportunity, if Aaron Jones went away, Dillon would be a top 5 running back, period. That's it. And I think he has a breakout season this year. I think he steps up more. Again, Aaron Jones, how many seasons? I'm going to pull this up here, because Aaron Jones, I mean, he's been hurt in 2017. He's been hurt in 2018, played 12 games both those seasons. 2019, he had a good year. Then he played only 14 games. He's only finished 1 season fully healthy, like out of 5 seasons, and he's going into a 6th season. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Jones gets hurt again at the end of the day. But the point I'm trying to make is Dillon steps up, could have a breakout, stash him, good value. All right. Next guy here, and this guy is set for a breakout, huge breakout, potentially, but he also has bust written all over him, which kind of concerns me. The guy I'm talking about is Cam Akers. Cam Akers sitting 17th on the consensus, on the Consheepsis ranking. He's only played 14 games, going into his, 3rd season now. He's only started 3 games, right? And that's the thing. 145 yards in season 1, 2 touchdowns, 4.3 yards per carry, and 625 yards. He was available 13 games. Only played 3 started 3, and then he played 1 game in 2021, got hurt. He had that nagging rib injury in season 1. So again, he was on, off, but just never got the full start, didn't get the full go, only started 3 games as a starter. And then last year just didn't do anything. Played 1 game, 5 attempts for 3 yards, average 0.6 yards per carry. So, I mean, this is the problem. Like, he was a second-round pick, guys, just to give you some background. Florida State, second-round pick, 52nd overall in 2020. Never really got it going. Okay, that's the problem with him. So can he break out? The thing is, again, I have some. He could break out. He can only do better from what he's done. Let's put it that way. He's going to do better than what he did, unless God forbid he gets hurt in preseason or something like that. But he's only got Darrell Henderson to compete with. That's it. Darrell Henderson is just not that good. And if they want to make a run again, and I think they might have a Super Bowl hangover. Everyone's so hyped up about Cooper Kupp. These guys coming back, looking amazing. Remember, Matt Stafford sucked for I don't know how many years, 10, 12, 20 years. I don't know how long he was in Detroit. Sucked for all those years, shows up, got the superpower team built up, right? And wins. Okay, so I don't think it was anything that Matt Stafford, I think he's consistent. I think he's good. I don't think he's anything special. So I see a Super Bowl hangover. Cam Akers, if given the volume, can have a good year, but it's up to him. If he stays healthy, breaks out, gets that volume, he could be a top 5, top 10 guy. Huge risk though. 3rd round pick, I'd say you could probably get him in around the 3rd round pick. He's a risk. He's one. People can ask me about Cam Akers. I'm like, yeah, breakout potential here, but he's a major risk. So be careful with him. But I see a breakout here coming from him. Now, all these guys. Okay, there is so many question marks about him. Dealing with Aaron Jones, Jerry Jeudy with Cortland Sutton. Is he gonna get over the hurdle of sucking for 2 years? Right, Cam Akers, is he gonna get over his hurdle? Right, but these guys, Jeudy, Cam Akers, are in a position to really succeed. But there's a seed of doubt in my mind, right, from what I've seen in the prior 2 years, specifically speaking about Cam Akers and Jerry Jeudy, is that they are lackluster players. They're just not going to get it done. Injury might sideline them, or maybe they're just not that good. We haven't seen it, but the opportunity is great with Russell Wilson throwing the ball, Cam Akers with no committee, Darrell Henderson sucks. Good offense, right? So, this is all about weighing it out, going with your gut feeling and make a decision on these guys, but they are a huge risk. Well, actually, you know what? I can't even say they're a huge risk because their ADP isn't that high, and you get a good return. I think they're a fair price for what you're going to get. Okay, guys? So if they do bust, you've got that high ceiling. So it's up to you guys to make a decision whether you want to roster them or not, all right? And the 5th guy here, again, he had a good season last year. You could say that he kind of broke out last year, but really break out this year is Darnell Mooney. Now, Darnell Mooney had a good year, right? That's the big, like I said, he had a good year. He was on one of my teams, and he was consistent every week, finishing 23rd amongst wide receivers in PPR, 1,055 yards. He had 81 receptions for 140 targets. When you put it in perspective in regards to target, that put him at 11th in targets, which is good. I see him getting an uptick in targets this season with him and Fields only building that connection better. Fields now actually going in as a starter, not having all this stuff with these other quarterbacks and quarterback battle. They kind of know what they've got going in. Again, similar to Pittman, is this guy good enough to handle the top corners or double coverage potentially? Because that's what could happen. But apparently from what we're hearing, had the beat writer on, the Bears beat writer, and he's looking good. I think that connection is going to be good. Now, 4 touchdowns, not enough. We need to see an uptick there. That's not good. I want to see more. I want to see 10 touchdowns out of Darnell Mooney. But what I'm saying is that this guy, if getting a few more touchdowns, a couple more receptions, some more yardage, we're talking about top 10 type numbers here with Darnell Mooney if things go as planned. That's the thing, right? So I want to see it. I like to see the underdog succeed, right? I want to see more touchdowns. I want to see more volume. I want to see it, and he's good value in drafts is Darnell Mooney, okay? That's another thing that I like about him is that you are getting him for a steal. And if you look at the depth chart there, guys, Brian Pringle, Velus Jones Jr., St. Brown, Iguini, I can't even pronounce it, Iguis St. Brown, Dante Pettis, what's he kicking? He's still kicking around. I remember when people thought Dante Pettis 2 years ago was better than Deebo Samuel. That was funny. As some people know, guys, Deebo is the better wide receiver. Let's just wake up. Yeah, believe it or not, they had Pettis ahead of Deebo Samuel. That's what the consensus and the Consheepsis do. So like I said, Mooney is good value, sitting 25th on the Consheepsis rankings. And that's phenomenal because what blows my mind is I think Mooney's actually going to beat, I know he's going to beat like T. Higgins, unless Chase gets hurt. He's going to beat Waddle, unless Hill gets hurt. He's going to beat a lot of wide receivers. He's behind Williams, who's the wide receiver 2. Mooney's the 1. He's the wide receiver 1. He's going to get the volume. So I like him. I don't know about you guys, but he could really, really break out this year and have himself a nice monster year. All right, guys, there's a ton of breakouts. Okay, I give them all to you in the 16-round draft, so make sure you guys grab it. Use code TUBE20, save yourself 20%. But there's 5 breakouts for you guys that are in a position, 5 players that are in a position to really crush it this year. All right, guys, subscribe, thumbs up. I appreciate you. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Fantasy's around the corner. All right, guys, dive into the Impact Series below. Get 16 rounds. Subscribe, thumbs up, comment below. Let's make it interactive. We got to get hyped up. Fantasy football is around the corner. Let's get it. I'm out.